Felder, that certainly was a lot of fun doing the radio program, and I'm excited to have a tour of your home garden.
Well, I appreciate it. By the way, thanks for helping with a lot of the questions. You know, people in Oklahoma, people in Mississippi, we have the same plants, same attitudes, same kind of problems, and appreciate your help on that.
It's a lot of fun. Hey, Felder, what would you categorize, or how would you explain your approach to gardening?
Well, you know, if you could just take a look around my garden, obviously I like plants. I'm also busy, I'm gone a lot, I'm tired, I'm lazy, it's hot. A lot of reasons where I don't like to do the horticulture thing when I get home. And I think a lot of people want to have beautiful, fragrant, tasty things without all the bells and whistles. So I've been looking for a long time. Take off, Maxie. There you go, girl. I'm always looking for things that are easy to grow, that are pretty year-round with as little maintenance as possible. That's a goal of mine, to find plants that simply grow without me having to do stuff. I want production and beauty and flavor and all that without having to bring my horticulture work home with me.
I see. A horticulturist who likes to relax in the garden and doesn't want to have to spend a lot of time making things look good, that you want them to look good on their own.
That's right. And my wife and I are, you know, she's a hotshot lawyer. We got teenagers and dogs and all. And when we get home, we want to relax. You know, we like butterflies, dragonflies. And we've created a garden here that's an enclosed space. That's where the word garden comes from. It means a guarded area. So when we get up here on our deck and look out towards the street, we can see people, but they can't see us. It's like an oasis right in the middle of the city.
Okay, sort of hide behind some of those plants in your own space.
Yeah, and it's not so much hiding, but it's close to that. It's really enjoying, it's walling out the world.
Sure.
My water garden there is deliberately designed so it aims towards the deck, so it's really noisy and splashy, and it helps the sounds of the interstate and the city sounds go away.
Drowns out those sounds.
That's right. The fire pit, you know, we sit out here in the evenings and burn wood. And we came over last night and we had a nice little fire going. It smelled like smoke, but it takes your mind off of the television and people blowing themselves up and the dishes and all that stuff. So we have visual and audio and smell and touch things to connect us with the world, again, without having to do a lot of work, because I'm lazy.
Okay. Well, you enjoy growing herbs, I see.
Oh, yeah.
I really like the
herb
planter you got back here.
Actually, you know, just like you, I do a lot of teaching, and this box right here, a neighbor threw these away. Can you believe they threw away perfectly good wooden boxes?
Those are neat.
And I happen to have some herb plants that I enjoy that I was going to show some children, because I work with children a lot, and I just stuck them in here for looks. So you can pull them right out. And
they're in pots.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I work with the children, it's just a matter of throwing a little potting soil, a little fertilizer, having the kids plant this, and they've got a portable herb garden that smells good and feels good and tastes good. And when you get tired of looking at it, you can throw it in the back of the pickup truck and haul it away.
There you go. Well, Felder, right behind you here, you have a work of art that we've got for the first time at our studio garden this year.
You have a bottle tree?
We have a huge bottle tree. We're going to talk about it later, but if you want to talk about this a little bit, that would be wonderful.
There's some people who have negative connotations because it goes back to evil spirits and all that kind of stuff. It's what we call poor man's stained glass. Okay. I like the way it looks. It's easy. It sparkles in the sunshine, and it just gives me a nice little focal point in color year round. To me, it's a lot like earrings. You know, I'm a funny looking guy. I don't look good. I don't talk good. I have to be smart to do what I do for a living. When I get home, this is my version of earrings. I don't punch holes in my ears and hang stuff out of them. This is just a little accessory that's whimsical and colorful, and I've got 10 of them, by the way.
10 bottle trees total. Well, this one is very nice with the nice dark blue color. Well, let's take a look at some more of your garden here. And
you want to go first or me?
I'll walk down the pathway here. And you have a special story about these pink flamingos. Is that correct?
Some people don't like pink flamingos because they call them tacky, okay? To me, tacky is just an attitude. My flamingos, I don't know if you could tell from here because it's kind of faded. It is faded, but on the bottom, it's been autographed by the man who invented pink flamingos.
Wow.
And what I like to do is put these out here because they give me a chance to kind of lighten up. Some people don't like it, you know, but I've been to Versailles in France. They have naked goddess statues, and I'm sorry, but that doesn't work in Jackson, Mississippi. So I put things that are whimsical, that when I look at them, they sort of help me suspend reality and get away from all the troubles. And plus, they're fun, and they make me smile.
Okay, those garden accessories.
That's right. Oh, by the way, you mentioned liking mixed things. Here I've got a pole for my vines, but I also have tomatoes growing here, and basil and flowers. So I treat vegetables and herbs just like flowers.
Okay.
And except when you get tired of looking at them, you can eat them.
There you go.
Let me grab my little turning fork here.
Okay, you have a colorful little collection of plants here. I know you're trying to attract some butterflies. And
We do. You know, right, being in the middle of town, butterflies aren't as prevalent as they are out in the prairie, so we have to put lots of color, and I've got it repeated around here. My wife's, she likes bright colors. You know, looking at the reds and yellows just make me sweat looking at it. But she likes bright colors, so, I mean, she's my wife. She's my sweetheart, so I indulge her. And at the same time, we have a lot of the plants that you have in Oklahoma, you know, the sages and the zinnias and the azuratums, and they really do a good job of giving color and texture and butterflies. It's real easy. This is one of my favorite little plants. I don't know if you grow, no, I think you said you do have this.
yeah, we've grown it from time to time.
What do you call it?
We call it toothache plant. What do you call it?
I call it eyeball plant. Look at that. And it is a real interesting little summer annual. Just gives a little contrast, and I got my bowling ball there just as a contrast to all the zany colors out here, I guess.
All right. Well, you were talking about your garden here being sort of an oasis, I guess, place to retreat, and I see you've got some roses. And what's the real thorny looking thing back here?
Well, it's a hardy citrus. Some people call it hardy orange.
Trifoliate orange?
Trifoliate orange. This particular one has a zigzag branches. It's more compact and it's really interesting in the wintertime. The fruit are edible. The name of this is Flying Dragon, and it's actually used as a rootstock on commercial citrus.
Okay.
But I put it out here for wintertime effect, because again, wintertime, just like in Oklahoma, you got to have something to look at. Spring is easy.
Sure.
Summer is a little more difficult. I know you've been working a lot on some of the perennials and the tropical plants that give color to Oklahoma gardens in the summertime. Well, I like to have stuff in the wintertime too.
Good interest out in the wintertime.
That's right. And all these roses, basically, I root them. And matter of fact, when we get to the backyard, I'll show you how I root these. But these are roses that basically I've gotten from cemeteries and old homes and stuff.
Good tough roses.
Yep, old hardy azuratum. This is a plant that is...
Gladiolus?
Yeah, this plant sells for around $10 for one of those little corms. But I rescue it around old houses that are being torn down for new developments.
Okay.
And again, summer stuff. I know you grow pentas out there.
Oh, we love those.
Great,
Butterflies love those, and great plant for us. I'm glad to see that it's a great plant for you guys down here where it's a little warmer than Oklahoma even.
Well, Steve, we've both been to Africa, and you know it's really hot and dry there. And it's hot and dry, you know, in Oklahoma and Mississippi, and I need color, I need texture, I don't want to water. And pentas and a lot of the other African plants and some of your Australian plants really hold up well without me having to do a lot. You know, in the summertime, again, the only work I want to do is to go out and see if my rain gauge has anything in it. So anytime I get something that doesn't need a lot of water or sprays, that's when I plant, because I'm lazy. I already mentioned that. But I think it's also being smart.
I think a lot of people in Oklahoma would be surprised to learn that you guys here in Jackson, Mississippi experience drought. I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, we got a lot of rainfall. It comes down in buckets, but in the middle of the summer, we can go 2.5 months without any rain. And when you get a lot of rain in the wintertime, that makes all the roots real shallow, so it gets pretty dire. What I've done, Steve, is gone around small towns, old home sites, cemeteries, and looked for plants that survive and do really well without a bunch of care. And those are what I bring home. And I just, instead of having one plant here and one there, I pull them together into a collection, but they're all just as tough.
Okay, well, I think you've got a great collection. I love the atmosphere you've created here. I even really like this scarecrow here made out of metal.
You've seen his backside here, but you know, one of the books that I wrote was on scarecrows, and I just like human figures. And again, naked gods don't work for me in my front yard, so I have to go with whimsical things. I have Saint Fiacre. He's the official patron saint of gardeners. I'm not Catholic, but I like to have statues that remind me of our connection with herbs and flowers. Okay. And you know, a lot of this kind of stuff, just to make me feel more at home. Accessories are real important for that.
All right, well, I think it's great. Let's take a look at your backyard.
Man, wait till you see some of this trashy stuff.
Well, Felder, I can see that your backyard is very similar to the front yard. Lots of planting areas and pathways, but no turf.
Well, I'm busy, I'm gone a lot. I know what it takes to have a really nice, good quality lawn. You help people with the grass, I do too, but when I get home, I don't have time. I don't have the desire to do all the watering and spraying, and so I just have no grass. A lot of walkways, a lot of plants, a lot of people spaces. And when I use mulch instead of grass, hey, brown is the color too.
Okay, so you kind of 86 the turf?
That's right. It's an old term for getting rid of stuff. And I have created a lot of shade because this yard used to be nothing but grass, all grass. And in shady areas where it's really hard to grow, I don't know if you can tell here, but see, I use
the plants in containers?
Yeah, and the soil here is pretty tough, so I try to grow pretty things that have nice variegated foliage. You know, here's is fat cheddar. Does it do okay for y'all?
It's not winter hardy in Oklahoma, but we grow it as a house plant.
It's a cross between ivy and fatsia, and the little maidenhair fern and some spotted aspidistra, you know, all these scientific names. The fact is, I like to mix up different colors and textures, and because the ground is so hard here, I just grow in pots and let pots be part of the scene.
Okay, they don't have to compete with the tree roots and the other plant roots?
No. And the trick to growing things in containers, find stuff that doesn't need to be watered. Monkey grass is easy.
So those are some really tough plants.
Oh yeah.
What do you call this area, Felder?
Well, it's a mixed garden. I think the French word is potager, spells like potager. And it basically, we got the tomatoes and peppers, garlic, all different kind of herbs and flowers. And I like, you know, different kinds of fragrant things, lemon balm. One of my favorite basils, or is it basil? Is it basil or basil?
You can say either or either.
Okay, but this is called African blue. It's real strong, it gets big and bold, and little cascading plants. But I mix flowers and vegetables and herbs in one little area, and it's fenced out to keep the dogs out.
Okay. Well, I like the type of edging you have here. That's very
It's called recycling,
creative.
you know. And by the way, the mint grows in there. This has been done in Europe for a long time. I mean, Steve, we've edged stuff before we had bricks. And it's colorful, it's easy, it's kind of whimsical. And even this herb garden right here in the middle, I don't know if you noticed what it's made out of. A big old tire painted purple.
Okay.
It's recycled. You know, everything in this garden is recycled. The roses, you know, you notice the roses I had out in the front yard?
Sure, beautiful.
These are roses that I and some other people have been noticing in small towns and cemeteries all over the South that bloom all the time with no care, no sprays, no diseases. So what we do is we root them. And see, I've got a few over there, but here's one way we root them. Of course, it looks kind of bad because it's springtime, but there used to be pansies here and daffodils.
Okay, the bulb foliage is fading a little, but you got some rose cuttings rooting right in the ground.
That's right. In the fall and winter, what I do is I take cuttings, and Dr. Dirt, you know, he was on the radio program with us. We take cuttings and we just stick them in the ground. They root in the spring. And in the fall, these plants will be well established, and we'll move them to the cemetery. I've got a cemetery that has beautiful, beautiful roses that grow with no care at all. We root them here, move them in the fall, so they're established without a whole lot of water.
Okay, so you guys have an arrangement with the cemetery folks where you add roses to the collection out there?
Well, it wasn't a collection to begin with. It was just a cemetery. And what we did is we planted the roses between tombstones so it doesn't interfere with mowing and that kind of stuff. And these roses should be out there for 100, 200 years or more. Always blooming, no sprays at all. These things are so tough, dead people can grow them.
Okay, I guess so, in the cemetery.
Yep, but anyway, lots of herbs and vegetables and mint, cut flowers, bulbs. And this is just my little way of having an oasis in about the only sunny spot of my garden.
Okay, a little bit of everything in this little sunny spot. Well, Felder, I really like the vine that you have up here. What type of vine do we have here, Felder?
Well, I call it Trumpet Creeper or trumpet vine. It's native to Oklahoma. Big trumpets shaped flowers, orange, and in the summertime, hummingbirds just crawl up in it. It's a terrific plant, but it's kind of invasive. So I put it on these poles here, sort of like a tree, and I can see whether it's getting away or not. So this is a nice way to grow an invasive vine with beautiful summer flowers.
Okay, easy to train it up that I-beam there.
Yeah, it's like plucking eyebrows. You just cut off the stuff you don't like.
Okay. Sounds simple enough.
It is.
Felder, what type of soil improvement do you do for your garden here?
Well, I learned from Dr. Dirt on the radio program this morning that it's just stuff grows in just plain dirt. But he's got better dirt than I do, so I have to add stuff, and I just add compost. Let me show you my pile over here.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward. I got 2 bins. One I fill up with stuff, and when it's full, I move it to the second bin and start filling this up. And when this fills a second time, I'm using stuff. Let me show you some of the stuff that's in here to give you an idea what the finished product is like.
Oh, that looks good.
Oh man, it's got plant tags and everything in it. But this is grown from just weeds and stuff out of my yard. I don't follow any of those rules about composting. I say there's only 2 rules. Just
Pile it
stop.
up?
Yep, stop throwing it away and pile it up.
Okay.
Matter of fact, this pile right here, because I put coffee grounds and eggshells and stuff like that in it, if you dig down in it, let me see if we can get this thing steaming.
Got nice moisture there, I can see. It's
You come out
good
here in the morning
consistency.
and turn this thing, and I mean, it starts to steam. And all I do is it's warm. I just mix grass clippings and from the neighborhood and leaves and trimmings and coffee grounds and banana peels and all that stuff. And I just pile it up and it makes compost all by itself. Okay. How easy is that?
That's pretty easy. Outstanding. I highly support your composting efforts.
It's easy and it works.
Okay. Felder, when you come to Oklahoma next week, what are you going to be speaking to us about?
Well, I'm going to be laying it on thick about keeping gardening fun and interesting and simple. Tough plants for Oklahoma, low maintenance gardening, low input, getting the most out of your garden year round with as little effort as possible. More smiles than sweat.
Okay, sounds exciting. We can't wait.
Well, it's going to be fun.
Okay. Well, this morning we were talking to Dr. Dirt on the radio program.
Yeah.
What is his garden like?
He has a well, rather than me tell you, why don't y'all, on your way out of town, can y'all just swing by and visit it? Because it is a cool garden that has these same exact principles.
Okay, we'll check it out.
My pleasure.
Thanks a lot.